Welcome to another episode of our podcast on Nostalgiamedia. Still in the series, Say a Prayer, Guys, May Nigeria Never Happen to You. Today we are looking at another institution that ought to have, ought to be a bastion for engendering unity in Nigeria. So we're still on the quest for one Nigeria. This is part 3 of that quest. And some have sent me messages, some have chatted, some have called. Richie, what's your point in all? None of this is still the same if you've been following closely, that we do need to tell ourselves stories about ourselves to know where we are coming from, which might help us to hazard a gaze at where we are now, and maybe help us to see if we are making progress or not as Nigerians. That if Nigeria and Nigerians are making progress, the noise outside being created by politicians plying their trade, don't lose sight of that. They are doing their business. Politicking is their business. The people who trained me in journalism didn't train me to behave like the crop of journalists we have in Nigeria today. Can't speak the truth, can't research, only parrot what they are paid to parrot, heavily compromised. But today is not an episode on Nigerian media. We'll come to that. I've been in the Nigerian media space for about 40 years. If a close friend of mine who is, one of those that's, if you like, flag bearers in many ways, many aspects of the Nigerian media, didn't even remember I had anything to do with journalism. Yes, but that's true. I was trained by the best and some of the best, both academically and ethically. And the ethics of journalism is what is dead. It's not, if I say what's lacking, it's not lacking, it's dead. But that's not our topic again this morning. Today we're looking at JAMB. We're still continuing. I've invited you here. My name is Richie Adewusi. This is Say a Prayer, Guys, May Nigeria Never Happen to You. I don't know about you. The stories you hear here are about the stories of how Nigeria happened to me, for me, that have implications, that has been having implication for the general population, with nobody really budging. People are grumbling inside their stomachs behind closed doors. And when they join the table, the song stops. You have activists who get into activism for being noticed so that they can be appointed into one thing or the other, or be settled one way or the other. There are still those who have to get this right, not for the sake of filthy lucre, but the sake of the good of all. So today, I'm going to tell you another story in the series. If people write books or produce documentaries or do movies and say, oh, based on true stories. We watch it. We're excited. Oh, well, that happened to that. Well, you are watching a movie and a documentary oh, based on true story, no just no fiction. I'm a writer. I think my entire writing career, I think I've only written 3 fictional works. I think so, yeah. All my books are based on specific development issue areas and garnished with first-hand experiences in those areas. And that's what this program is about. Thankfully, we're not talking about things we haven't experienced or we don't know anything about. So JAMB was there to help the people who envisioned it and established it to make university education or tertiary institution education admission accessible to all qualified Nigerians who meet the criteria for going to higher those tertiary institutions, regardless of their tribe, their religion. And there was special provision made for a category known as the educationally, I don't like that term, but well, that's what they say, educationally backward zones, meaning zones that don't have enough or students graduating from graduating from high school, and that might not be able to compete, well, based on the whole bouquet of issues, which the average person will feel, what's my business? But then if we're to carry ourselves along, you let others breathe. But unfortunately, that has become an inroad for polluting the entire system. And merit has gone out of the window. But I will not start the story from the end. Let's start it from the beginning. Okay, so welcome. It's still that time. But thank you for being here. Thank you for joining us. Please don't forget to subscribe to be able to engage, to comment on this program. You need to have subscribed, and subscription is free. And please share this live stream to your friends, to your family, your colleagues, to all Nigerians and friends of Nigeria, people who are concerned about issues about Nigeria. Share this live stream to them, invite them over. And please don't forget to hit the like button and follow us, please. When you subscribe, you follow us so that you can, even outside of the stream, you can send us. And guys on TikTok, thank you. Thank you for joining us on the live today. Okay, it's another time for us to share. You know, we have a longer time than the YouTube guys, so don't worry, I'm not abandoning you, I'm not neglecting you. So we'll be here. Okay, so we had the situation prior to JAMB where different tertiary educational institutions conducted their own entrance examination, which meant that if you remember what I did, for instance, so that just serves as a good example. If you remember what I did about going to do A-levels in Lagos State in 1980, which was that I collected forms from all the Lagos State all the Lagos State colleges and secondary schools that had A-level classes. And I got admitted at all of them. So what it meant was that the admission they gave me could have been given to other people. Okay, I was qualified. I was on the merit list on all of them. But of course, what did I know that time? What do I know? I just, okay, I will choose the one I like. Choosing the one I like meant I was denying someone else the opportunity, because I will keep that until maybe it becomes obvious that this person is not coming to that school. By that time, you know, it might have been late for some other people to be able to make use of that space. That was what was happening within the Nigeria tertiary institution environment when it came to the issue of admission. You could go to the different universities before JAMB was established and pick up their entrance forms, pay the fees, collect the forms, fill filing. You might actually get admitted, you are qualified, you get, just like I was admitted in those secondary schools for A levels. You get admitted to go to do your degree programs in more than one university, but you could only go to one. So it didn't make sense. It was like, it was only for those who have legs, even if not that you have money. I know what I wanted. I could move around, was fired up to go for what I needed, even from that age. So the federal government thought it wise to facilitate or control. Well, control might not be, you might misunderstand control, to regulate, or rather, admissions, so that those duplicated admission processes do not continue. You can only get admitted to one institution at a time by a central body, and that central body is JAMB. Okay, that's the story around JAMB. Okay, and JAMB was created in 1978. My first attempt at embracing them was 1982. A levels was for direct entry into the Nigerian universities. It meant that for 4-year courses, you do not do the first year. You spend 3 years instead of 4 years. And then you do not sit for entrance examination, just application that is now evaluated on the basis of your score at the A-level examination. Okay, still conducted by the same WAEC, West African Examination Council. So in 1982, I sat for my A-levels, West African Examination Council A-level exams, and I passed. And I was, I was so sure, confident I'm going to university. And do you know which university? My first choice was University of Lagos. My second choice was University of Lagos. My third choice was University of Lagos. My dad said, "Are you sure about what you're doing? Why don't you pick another university?" Just in case I said, "Daddy, I want," no, I didn't call my dad, called him Papa. "I want to go to University of Lagos." First, second, third choice. And the postal service used to work in Nigeria then. What I mean by used to work is postmen would actually bring your letters to your doorstep. Our family house home was in Surulere, Lagos, an area in Surulere called Obele Odon. That's where we live. So central, the major post office in that area was just about 5 minutes walk from our home then, on a street called Akerele in Lagos, southwest Nigeria. And I finished, I came home, I was waiting. I was sure I was going to go. My friends, don't worry. Thank you guys for joining from TikTok. Thank you guys. Please don't forget the like button, like the live, please. Thank you so much for being here with us. And follow the story, okay? You can hear me. All right. So, and I thought I was waiting for the postman to bring, was so sure. My friends who were, I was going to University of Lagos, people who were getting their admission letters, nothing happened. I didn't receive nothing. I became worried. About 2 weeks to the date for matriculation, well, less than 2 weeks really, to the date of matriculation, and I didn't get anything. I decided to go to JAMB office. JAMB office was in an area called Ikoyi in Lagos. Uh, I think it was at 13 Hawksworth Road, Ikoyi. That was JAMB, the central office for JAMB then. I managed to find my way there. Of course, it was easy to move around Lagos then. You had buses that dropped you practically in front of where you are going. The bus stops were very uh, user-friendly in terms of helping you to go from point A to point B. The LSTC buses were, I mean, very well marshaled then in their routes. I don't know what happens now. Thank you guys for joining the live. Thank you. Welcome, welcome, oh baby. Welcome to the live. Okay. I arrived at JAMB office. It was like a marketplace. I'm like, wow. People in big cars with their children. And I was there alone. And that's important. Why is it important? My father will not follow you to go to appeal to anybody to give you anything that you didn't earn. So his agreement with all of us was pass your exams, I will pay the school fees. And that was a principle that my children got to learn when it got to their turn because I kept to it. So my father didn't follow me. People were there with their children, you know. They will go talk to the gate man. Something will happen. As in, they will shake the gate man's hand, allow the parent and the child to go into the compound. You will see them come out holding an envelope. They're happy, you know. They go. That crowd. Of course, what used to happen would be that JAMB would have pasted results for both O-level admissions and A-level admissions. And my name wasn't on the, we'll be checking. My name was not on any of those lists. 1 week, they posted the first set of lists, second set of lists, third set, that my name was not on that, on any of those lists. But I was convinced I had an admission. I was going to school. I was convinced by the reason of my score. A week went. I was going every day to check the board if I would see my name, if I would see my name. There was no letter, no postman brought anything. My name was not on the list. And a week went. The second week, the Monday went. I felt quite, if you like, I felt quite discouraged at home. And my dad noticed, don't worry, if you pass, your letter should be. I said, Daddy, Papa, your letter will be here. Like is graduating, matriculating over the weekend. That means I won't go to school. I was in that mood the following day, Tuesday. Wednesday, I decided to go back to the JAMB office. I arrived there, nobody at the gate, no one. There's no crowd. I went to the board again. There was a new list there. My name was not on the list. But I was convinced I had admission and that my letter was somewhere. So I approached the gate. I approached the gate. The gate man was seated. There was a tree to the left of the compound if you entered there at that time. He was seated under the tree. Didn't even move as I entered expecting to hear, hey, where are you going? Nobody said anything to me. I, marched forward and I asked somebody, please, I want to collect my admission letter. As if someone told me there's my admission letter. But I was that confident that I have to have a letter. I want to collect the person I asked was a middle-aged man. He said, oh, go to that building. Go to that building. There was more than one building in the compound. I moved to that building. I met some other persons in the corridor. I said, please, I want to collect my admission letter. I said, okay, you see that corridor? Go down, check for room, so, and I followed that instruction, that direction. I arrived in front of the said room and I knocked, young secondary school graduates in a place that you couldn't enter the previous week because the only people who could enter were, but I was in there by myself. I knocked on the door, nobody answered. I tried the lock, the lever to open it. He opened. And in that room were two staff, a male and a female, around a rather small table. The table was not that big. But the reason why the table was not big, it was not a nice one. And I didn't pay attention to that reason initially, but because it didn't mean what it then meant to me, maybe like 5 minutes later after I had spoken, I greeted them. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, sir. I want to collect my admission letter. They said, check there. Check where? I found to check where they say I should check. The reason their table was small in that room was that room was filled with envelopes touching the decking. Practically filled the room. They just squeezed themselves to a corner to put that small table there. Obviously, maybe they were the mailing people to sort out and then send the things out, send the letters out. But that was a mountain of envelopes. Of course, eventually I got to find out what was in those envelopes because, well, check there. I turned to them, check there. They said, yes, check there. Where do I start? How? I prayed. Just took a moment, prayed. And then bent down. And I started looking, checking envelope after envelope. I didn't spend 20 minutes. And I was having in my hands an envelope with Richard Aderopo, Chile, Adewusi on it. Wow. Wow. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Yes, bye-bye. I ran. I hadn't opened it, but I didn't know what was inside it, but I was overjoyed. I ran to the gate, to the bus stop, to go wait for the bus. I was overjoyed without knowing what was inside the envelope. I will give you an opportunity to see what I found inside the envelope when I eventually opened it. I've kept that letter. I'll show it to you here. Okay? If so that when the next set of things I'm going to say, you know, would that letter would make meaning for them. So please, guys, if you may, please, could you just kindly put up my JAMB admission letter, please. Put it up. Thank you. Put it up. It's looking very frail and old, yes. 1982 to this time is how many years? Somebody saw it over the week and said, Richie, what? Yes, we should learn to keep records and documents. That letter, well, there are other documents inside the envelope, of course. It's in triplicates. You fill the form, you take one to somewhere, you give one another place, you keep your own. If you check that letter, you have portions where it said immediately. That letter was dated 23rd November 1982. You can Google to check the day that the matriculation of the University of Lagos was in 1982. It was just about 2 or 3 days later. That's why they wrote immediately. Meanwhile, the letter was inside JAMB office. Imagine if, well, I can say God now. I can't say if I did not, it's not me. Imagine if God did not inspire me, push me to say, go there. Go. Don't be intimidated. Go and check. It's there. Imagine if I started searching at the wrong end and I'm there 1 hour, 2 hours. I get frustrated, I'll leave. But did I pass? I passed. Did I have admission? I had admission. System. What was that letter doing there? Do you know the destinies that have been squashed, punctuated in that heap of envelopes in that room? It's not the days of camera phones and all of that. I wish I could show that. The memory has remained with me disturbing. He said, take this letter now, fill it, it's in triplicate, take so to immediately appear, arrive, well, present yourself and to the institution that immediately. Imagine someone who had applied to attend the University of Lagos, who was in Maiduguri, who was in Port Harcourt, who was even in Ibadan, which was just a couple of hours away from Lagos. And that letter is in there. And one of the errors, really, see, when God just wants certain things to happen certain ways, he prepares you. I used all of this to understand it's not just for me. I've come to learn that some of the experiences I've had in life are not for me, not just for me. It's for me to be able to push, encourage, mentor other people. The address on that envelope was a PO box. It wasn't even her home address, which was what wasn't before my field. Yes, there was a PO box there in the form that was maybe was my brother's workplace then, my immediate elder brother's workplace, College of Medicine, University of Lagos, where my dad used to work too. That was address, the postal address, but our mailing address, my address was there. through Onikoyi Street, through Lagos. It was PO Box. Now, imagine if those two people, who I suspect that their job was to sort those letters and send them out for posting. Imagine if they had taken my letter and sent it out for posting, it goes to a PO box. How would I have gotten it to be able to just imagine other people like me that happened to? Definitely. And I know of one. I had a friend, my pal, my closest pal at A levels, Afolabi Oyeleye. He didn't get his admission letter. He had to do JAMB again. He had to apply again because it was the same A level. He had to apply again. Same thing happened again. They didn't get for whatever reason. Until his father decided, no, this is enough, and sent him off to the US. Then my father couldn't have sent me to the US. Now, immediately, that was Wednesday. By the time I arrived home, showed my father the letter, which was, oh, congratulations. Okay, what do we do now? I have to go to university. You can't go now. Nobody will be there. They're closed now. I'm like, oh, yes, that's true. I didn't sleep. The following morning, I ran off. I arrived at the university, trial, error, go here, student affairs, long queues. By the time it gets to you, you'll find out that that's not where you are supposed to be. You're supposed to go to where you do clearance, where you're supposed to submit. Oh, God. I went and queued up again. Long queue. Nigeria happening to you. Nigeria happening to you. Nigeria happening for me was, I was selected. Of course, I've given admission. That's Nigeria happening for me. I was given admission based on merit. But Nigeria happening to me was that the people who are supposed to make it such technical, incompetences, if you like, human errors abound till today. This year, I saw online about WAEC saying people's marks were wrongly for whatever reasons they called, and those people are still keeping their jobs. Somebody is still the head of that organization, hasn't been sacked. They didn't resign. No accountability. No accountability. Not at the top, not at the bottom. No accountability. Nobody takes responsibility for anything. Okay? I was in that queue where I needed to present my letter the next day. It was a long queue. Eventually got to my turn. Nigeria happening to me. And I handed my documents to the lady who was behind the desk. And he looked at it, oh, congratulations. Okay. And she started to speak Yoruba. I didn't respond. She continued. I could hear what she was saying, but I didn't think they employed her there to interview people or to relate with people in Yoruba. Everybody in that queue couldn't have been Yoruba persons or understood Yoruba. So I didn't answer. And she looked up. I'm talking to you since you're not answering. Your name is Adewusi. We are speaking Yoruba, you're not. And I'm not joking. I said to her, please, it's not to speak Yoruba that I'm in the queue for. This for you to attend to me. She continued. Wakbembe, you belong there. What I didn't answer. I should put my document aside. And well, next. I'm like, there's no next. I'm not kidding. There's no next. I'm not, you would attend to me. You are here to attend to me. It's my turn. Nigeria happening to me, about to happen to Mr. Shonde, Mr. Alake. Yes. At every level in life, you have such people. And people are complaining about somebody in Aso Rock, complaining about somebody in the state government house, somebody in the Senate, somebody at the street level. These are the kind of things that are happening on a daily basis to people. Where does the person in Aso Rock or at whatever level, where did they start? It starts like that. That's how. And that person they treat like that will be like some people they treat like that will be okay, don't worry. When they get out there, they want to do to others what? What do you need to do? What do you need that for? Why do I need to relate to anybody the way Alake related to me and the copper at Lagos Baptist, or the way Shonde related to me at Federal Government College, or the way this admission clerk, I refuse to leave. Of course, the other guys behind me in the queue. I leave now. If she said she should move, I said, guys, yeah, understand. I'm not leaving here. It's my turn. She needs to attend to me. She's not employed here to speak Yoruba. Oh, they say, oh, is that what he said? You can say him now if he doesn't understand. He said his name is Adewusi. Why shouldn't you speak Yoruba? I said, that my name is Adewusi doesn't mean I must speak with you in Yoruba. The hoopla brought the admission officer out from her office. God bless such technocrats. God bless such people. They're still there. They are still there. She came out. What's going on here? This guy, the people in the queue, this guy doesn't want to give, madam, this person doesn't want to leave so that others I can attend to others. Young man, what happened? I told the woman what happened. And she said, is that true? That you are insisting you must speak right before you can attend? Stand up. Please go into my office. You stood up, walked towards somewhere. The lady sat down. I said, why are your documents? I said, that's it. She put that aside there. She took them, looked at them, processed. Congratulations. Welcome to the University of Lagos. I went to do the next things. Nigeria happening to me. About to happen to me. Nigeria happened for me because there are people who still have conscience, who still know their jobs, who still know that they are in certain position in public service for what that is. Service. Look, I will move again. Look at the motto for JAMB. Look at it. Service and integrity. Well, the service from the people who didn't post the letters on time, or who didn't even put out my name on any list? Where's the service coming from? Where's integrity from the clerk who said I must speak Yoruba before she could attend to me? Imagine if it were someone who couldn't even speak Yoruba at all. That's not what you're employed there for. Okay? So, of course, I started school at the University of Lagos. I thrived at the University of Lagos at every level. I wasn't unknown at the University of Lagos, not for any negativity. I was a hall official, I was a departmental official, I was faculty official. I didn't play student union politics, but they knew I was there enough to have me write a play for presentation. I think it was 1984 Student Union Week. I think 1983, it was 1983 or 1984 Student Union. I wrote Fragile Fury. That was, you know, it was a pantomime about the trial of civilian politicians in military tribunals by the Buhari Idi administration. That also did not put me in the very good book of the security agencies. That's another story for another day. My friend who was the student union president at that time, we still call him Rapidity. Niyakinshiju was student union president at that time. It was about the same time that in that same Nigeria that the symbol of Nigeria's ability to communicate with the world, Nigerian External Communication Building, the NET building, was, well, set on fire by whoever. That has not been declared till today in that same administration. And that, my friend, eventually, years down the road, from student union activism, started an organization that was called the Buhari Media Organization about 2015 to launder Muhammadu Buhari, President Muhammadu Buhari walked to, you know. This program is not for castigating anybody, but it's for putting facts on records. Okay, so I'm going to leave you to see our video for this episode, and when we return, we go into the issues that from community members, from viewers, from followers. Some are already here. So let's watch the video. We'll come back and continue. Thank you.
Nostalgiamedia's The Quest for One Nigeria series is designed to profile the deliberate steps taken after the Nigerian Civil War, the Biafra War, to heal a broken nation and engender the blending and unification of Nigeria and Nigerians, as one nation, one people. The Nigerian federal military government of the period following the Biafra War, led by General Yakubu Gowon, and subsequent military administrations introduced and expanded institutions, platforms, and processes designed to encourage and strengthen national unity. These initiatives include the National Youth Service Corps Program, the federal government colleges, the defunct Federal Schools of Arts and Science, the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, JAMB, the federal universities, the National Troop of Nigeria, the Federal Character Commission. The Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, JAMB, was established in 1978 during the military administration of General Olusegun Obasanjo. Its purpose was to coordinate the admission of students into Nigerian universities, polytechnics, and colleges of education for the benefit of all Nigerian students qualified for admission into those institutions. Prior to JAMB, institutions conducted their own entrance examinations, which often led to duplication, inconsistencies, and favoritism. By creating a single, centralized system, the government sought to level the playing field so that young Nigerians, irrespective of tribe, region, or religion, could compete fairly for entry into higher institutions for their education. The idea was noble, a merit-based, transparent process that would strengthen unity and reduce inequality. Yet, decades later, the lived realities paint a more complicated picture. JAMB has indeed served as a bridge for many, granting access to higher education for countless Nigerians. But for many others, it has come to represent stress, heartbreak, and lost opportunities. From recurring technical failures and allegations of corruption to the enormous psychological pressure placed on candidates, JAMB's journey reflects the gap between vision and practice. This is where the timeless voice of Christy Essien-Igbokwe resonates. Born in 1960, Christy Essien-Igbokwe was a remarkable Nigerian female singer known for her uplifting and morally charged songs. She rose to prominence in the 1980s with her unique ability to combine Yoruba proverbs, soulful melodies, and ethical lessons into songs that spoke to both personal conduct and national conscience. Sadly, her life was cut short in 2011, but her music continues to inspire new generations of Nigerians. One of her most popular songs is Shun Re Re, released in 1981. The song remains a moral anthem, urging Nigerians to embrace goodness, integrity, and honesty in every aspect of life. In the song, she sings, "My child, do good, it shall be well with you." The song is a reminder that the results we see in our society are a reflection of the values we preach, teach our children, and practice and uphold as their parents. Just as Essien-Igbokwe's song calls individuals to goodness in their daily choices, so too does it challenge all those in charge of running Nigeria's institutions and structures to embody fairness, justice, and equity. JAMB was envisioned as a national gatekeeper of opportunities, a system that would open doors equally to every qualified young Nigerian who aspires to study and build a future. JAMB has instead become a stumbling block for many, for which Nigerians, both leaders and citizens, must look inward, as Christie urged, and ask whether our actions align with the goodness we claim to desire. The quest for one Nigeria is not simply about building institutions but about ensuring those institutions function to reflect the values of justice, fairness, and equity, reflecting national unity for which they were created. JAMB's continued existence as a bridge to opportunities, or collapsing into a barrier of frustrations, will be determined by how soon Nigerians choose the path of Shun Re Re, of doing good, and doing it consistently, for the sake of all Nigerians and future generations of Nigerians. May Nigeria happen for all Nigerians and friends of Nigeria.
Welcome back on YouTube, okay? Yeah, from the video. And well, I kept quiet about Essien-Igbokwe in my intro, not out of forgetting, but I wanted that song for her to be profiled in the video before. You see, the whole issue of upbringing is key to whatever problems that the world is having. It's not just Nigeria. I said to you earlier that my father will not follow you anywhere to go talk to anybody to say, okay, accept my son, accept my daughter. If you don't pass, forget it. And then you are encouraged to carry your cross. The same way I related with my own children. Some people thought it was being too rigid. No, it's not. We're having problems today that are parental, structural, from the homes, from parenting. Oh, mommy, my child, do good for it to be well with you. It will be well with you. And the child responds too in the same song. My father, do good. My mother, do good too. It's every one of us. If you live in certain ways and expect that your children will just magically arrive at, no way. That's what's going on. Children, people don't write their own exams. You pay people to do JAMB for you. You pay people to write your text in school. You pay to get admission. So when does the paying stop? Where does the paying stop? Yeah, that's part of the problem of JAMB. When you talk about corruption in JAMB, JAMB, just like the federal government colleges, there's merit, there is catchment area, there's geographical spread, and well, there are some special interests, whatever that is. But there was enough enough room left, made available for every qualified young Nigerian that gets to pass to get the scores that are needed, that are required for specific undergraduate programs to go to the university or colleges of education or polytechnics. But admission processes have been monetized. Your JAMB scores don't even mean nothing. There are miracle JAMB centers where exams are conducted by whoever for whoever. So how can you give what you do not have? Parents pay now for their nursery school children to gain marks to the top of class, nursery school, primary school. Parents pay teachers to favor their children. And how? Well, Nigerians, how are you expecting that magic to happen, that people will now get to positions of authority and they'll be able to do writing? And that is even those who managed to go to school at all, not to talk of people who had nothing to do with education, who found themselves in big spaces and have to take decisions that affect everybody. People who can't prove that they went to school. People who hate those who went to school. So how would they care about the educational institutions? How would they care about supporting them? How would they care about funding the education ministry? How would they understand that human capital in any economy is the basis for any development? They don't get it. They wangle them their ways into positions of authority. Young people ask, okay, well, if that person could be there, why do I have to bother to go to school? Why do I bother to do JAMB? What is it? What nonsense? Which JAMB? Yeah. And we have this mess, not just in terms of unity alone, but in terms of development, progress, as groups and as a nation. Imagine if that lady, that clerk had succeeded, or if I had chickened out from the queue because people were screaming before. You can scream all you like. It's my turn. Not a Milocon style, no. I was in that queue, waited to be attended to. And you get to attend to me. Don't come to me and tell me because you are not speaking a particular language. That was not what I employed there to do. And the admissions officer came out and proved me right. We need more of such people to show people that their efforts are not in vain, that right still makes sense, that service still makes sense, that integrity still makes sense. Okay. All of these efforts, people dream them up. It would be good if our young people can come together, have a process through which, because you come from a place, you don't only aspire to go to that university there. Okay, you can go to anywhere in Nigeria. Made it possible for you to apply anywhere. But somebody is there. Do you understand the implication of that? If you don't speak Yoruba, I'm not going to attend to you. Oh, this is a Yoruba university. No, it's not. It's a federal university. University of Lagos is a federal university. If it's a state university, you can do whatever you like, which is also wrong anyway. It's a federal university. You do not say because somebody does not speak language that you speak in that area where the university is located, that person is not qualified to attend that university. That was the implication of what that clerk was about to do to me. And that wasn't the only time I've experienced that in Nigeria in my life. Because as a first choice, I'm not speaking to you in any Nigerian language first. As a first choice. Even when I hear what you're speaking, I can speak two Nigerian languages very fluently. I can speak a third one, well, manageably, passably. But I'm looking at you. You probably think I am from a particular place, but that doesn't matter. Where anybody comes from don't matter. What should matter is what you can do, what you bring to the table to help for the public good. And that's why we go to school, to solve problems. You go to school, and when you graduate, when you come out, you apply, you apply, you apply what you've studied to solve problems in society, because there will always be problems in society. Your certificate is not a meal ticket. It's not. Okay. Your certificate is just to say, okay, you did this, yes. But it's your ability to apply what you've studied to solving problems. I've been applying what I studied. I didn't go to study literature by accident. I'm still writing. I was right till, yeah. I'm talking to you here on this program. I'm writing. Technology has made it easier for all of us to write, all of us to speak, all of us to have our own television stations and radio stations and newspapers and magazines. Technology has made it possible for us to do that and use them for useful things, for things that build. Things that repair, renew, inspire individuals, groups, nations. Not joking. We've lost ourselves joking on TikTok. Before, could I do this program on a Nigerian television station? No television station would agree to give you time slots to do this program. Before, the government were able to control what shows up anywhere, newspaper, what it get published or not. But technology makes it possible. But you do whatever you need to do sensibly. Don't come out and talk about things that you don't have data, don't have proof for. I've shown you my own proof today. Okay, so we're going to look at contributions from community members here. This one says, for some listeners who might feel powerless, how can they actively contribute to making sure Nigeria happens for them and not to them? You heard my story. The first thing is stand up for yourself. First, before you're standing up, don't stand up on bubble. Don't stand up there up on emptiness. Don't begin to make noise for things you are not qualified for. First, you have to play your own role. I passed my exams. I read my books. I passed my exams. I listened to my dad. I followed his instructions. Go out there. Yeah, you are qualified. Go. So why would anybody stop you? Yeah. It's not, oh, come home. Okay, when if they don't agree, come and tell me, I'll follow you. No, that won't follow you. I didn't follow. Look, my daughter sat at home for 2 years after her secondary school exam, did first JAMB, the result was not favorable. Second one wasn't favorable. And people were like, Rich, what's your problem? You know people. You can't put this girl in school. I said, excuse me, ma. If you don't pass JAMB, there's no school. The third attempt, she passed. Today, she's made me proud. My grandfather, two beautiful granddaughters from her. She's an astute professional. If anybody knows how where she works, you'll be like, right, yeah, I'm proud of her every single day of the year. Because, yeah, I trained her. Don't give in. Don't follow the crowd. Read your books. If you don't merit, forget it. Yeah. And she followed through, and that's what is happening. And I have no doubt that that's what she's doing. She and her husband doing with their 2 daughters, my granddaughter. So, what should you do? Why should you feel helpless when you have that letter I showed you? There is no fake now. 1982 to this time is how many years? Okay, I kept it. I will keep it. My children saw it. So that's it. You have proof when you're talking. Look, you have to pass your exam. Nobody went to bed. See my admission letter. Go. My result. Sorry, last episode I was all over the place about whatever it was I scored at O level. Okay, I said the wrong C's at the beginning, corrected them. Then when I corrected them, I said the wrong A's. I scored 5 A's, 2 C's, 1 P, and 1 suspicious F. The story of that elf is in one of my books. It's deliberate, but then that's not for this live stream. Okay, so basically, okay, you need to be qualified, because that's the thing. Don't go making noise. I'm a Nigerian. I'm supposed to be here. You're supposed to be there. Do you have what it takes to be in those places? You passed your JAMB. You have your scores. You can make noise. Great. Yes. Please stand your ground. And that's the same thing we're saying about the response of Nigerians to the political class, to the people misbehaving there, putting everybody in jeopardy. And then we are saying, oh, it's their thing. No, they are playing their political game, but then lives are the cards they're using to play that game. So you don't leave them and say it's their thing. Play your own role. I'm playing my own. This live stream is my own role. It doesn't, like I said, it doesn't matter if it's one person that watches it or shares it or subscribes. I'll keep doing what I have to do. At some point, somebody will say, wow, somebody did say something like this sometime. Yeah, sure. Today, all of us miss somebody like Professor Dora Akunyili. Yeah, she played her own role. Did she change the flow of Nigeria? No, but she played her own role at her place of duty. Okay. So there's another question. The woman I didn't like was trying to pull off a power show. It wasn't just a power show. It was tribalistic. It was tribal. This is a Yoruba university. It was not. It's a federal university. If you can't speak Yoruba, I will not attend to you. Wrong. Don't do that. It was not power. But it was also, even if it was power show, it was also playing power show to the wrong person. Imagine all I have gone through to get that letter. And for it to be, matriculation is in 2 days, or was in 2 days. If you had your admission and you did not matriculate, that admission is gone for that year. That's what that person was going to do to me. Imagine the time it had taken for me to queue up for it to get to me. If I had bucked down, if I had been intimidated by her and moved aside, then that day goes. That day would have gone. You don't know what will happen coming back the next day. Matriculation was the next, I think it was on a Saturday, I think so, yes. And then what? Everything is wasted. You wait another year. Maybe you made the same thing. Maybe they'll put your letter somewhere again. Okay. So stand up. It wasn't power show. It wasn't power show. It was discriminatory. That's not power show. It was very, very discriminatory. It was tribal. It was parochial. Could you enlighten us as to how impactful songs like Essien-Igbokwe were when they were released, especially as someone who was around in that period? People danced. The meaning, the meanings that we're looking at today, the things we're relating them to today are not really, it was just, oh, general was a song. A musician sang. A musician didn't just sing. She spoke to parents to parent their children properly, children to listen to their parents, follow the instructions of their children, and for the parents themselves to behave in the ways they are instructing their children to behave. So it was rounded. Baba mi ma ṣe ohun rere, gbàdúrà fún mi. Gbàdúrà fún mi means pray for me. It was not just pray. You're not just praying. Praying means guide me well, lead me well, show me the way, show me the right things to do. How many parents are doing that? Those who are buying examination scores for their children, what kind of leaders are those children going to be? Who believe that you can buy anything? You can exchange money for any kind of response, process. And then you get to societies where that's not possible. And you feel like fish out of water. You find it difficult to relate, to function. Okay. What gives you hope that Nigeria can still happen for its people, despite everything going on in the country? The hope is in people. Like I've said, there are still people like Mrs. Odumodu. Yes. There are still people like Mr. Washington Okorie Washington. There are still people like Mr. J.O. Abolade. I've been trying to remember the name of that admission officer. She was quite a popular person in school then. I've been trying to remember her name. There are still people like that admissions officer. There are still people like Mr. Matazu in Sokoto during my youth service. There are still people like Ibrahim Idris. People, my business and human relation, people have to run their businesses. There's still people like him. People like all of those. They are there. It's about human beings. It's about what we do. I keep saying it on this live stream. It's about what the hope is in us. The hopelessness is in us. But we must stand to be counted, especially for ourselves. It's when people fall inside water, inside the river, you have to swim out first before you start, okay, let me help you. If you are helping somebody who can't swim and both of you will drown, so come out and then begin to say, guy, take rope, hold it, pull the person out. Develop yourself. Stand out. I think it was Longfellow that said, if you want to get anywhere in life, you must press and climb until you are up there where people can see and hear you. Develop yourself, okay, and play your role from that. The admission officer could have sat back in her office and so that concerned. Unlike those two individuals in that JAMB office where the mountain of envelopes fabricated, doing nothing. There was not a single envelope on that table. They were just there gisting. The month will end, they will get paid. Meanwhile, by the end of that month, a lot of lives, a lot of frustrations would have been meted out on, so many young Nigerians. No hope, no admission till another year. Not because they didn't pass, but because somebody just didn't do his or her job. Okay? Do you think the determination of the younger generation to opt out of Nigeria through migration because of the failures of systems like JAMB is justified? You have to also think twice before you're migrating. You see, if you have the kind of background that they paid everything for you, you are going into the wrong environment. You're going to places where nobody pays for anything, really. Basically, yes. Where you have to follow rules. Well, Nigeria has developed a system of people who don't follow, who believe that anything, there's always a shortcut. You're going into places where you don't have shortcuts. You have to follow, do things on time, do things properly, So be sure you are that kind of person before you are even thinking of migrating. Yes. Okay. You migrate, you think somebody who thinks somebody is going to give you whatever, forget it. You have to earn everything. You have to learn to do things for yourself, by yourself, in tandem with others, follow the rules, pay your fair share of public responsibility from taxes to following rules. Yes. Okay. If Nigeria's leaders had to sit for JAMB today, I strongly believe most of them would fail. They just sit in the first place. Most of them didn't sit for nothing. And the idea, so they don't understand. That's the point. They didn't sit for nothing. Most of them didn't go to school. Why the controversies are out there. So they don't understand what we're. There's a reason why I started this stream from where we started. I could have started from heavier stuff. No, let's understand where we're coming from. Let's understand why people are behaving the way they are behaving, even when some of them get to a position of authority. Some of them are saying, I'm going to do my own back. This is what I suffered. Do you know what I suffer? I'm going to make sure that people suffer what I suffer. Do you need to? You don't. You don't. You're a leader to make things better, to make sure that that thing you suffer does not happen to somebody else. Yes, because that somebody else might be the person who would have the magical wand that could transform a sector of the economy, a sector of the society in some way to the benefit of the general population. But I guess the general population don't count only when it comes. It's only when it comes to election that we remember a group called general population, and they are called the electorate. They are called voters. That's if their vote means anything anyway. Okay? Okay. I think there's another one is, what do you think is the main reason for the high failure rate in JAMB, even up to this year's edition? People don't read. It's simple. Well, I've said it here. You are used to your parents paying the teacher to give you marks to pass. So if you hadn't prepared, if you had been patched up, go to primary school, secondary school, that happened, maybe somebody sat for you one way or the other. Oh, some people still sit for JAMB for one. That's why I talked about miracle centers. Yes, there are still some places where some people arrange for some people to sit for JAMB for some. So if you are unlucky, you are not unlucky in quotes. You don't. Your parents. If you're unlucky to have a parent like mine, he didn't read. You are not going to school. You fail. So read, follow the syllabus, follow the curriculum. That's why I said, improve yourself, qualify. Qualifying means you pass the JAMB examination. If there are other considerations for gaining admissions, I think they still do Cambridge, which is like the A level. Okay, I didn't sit for the JAMB exams. Like I said, I did A levels, which means it's direct entry. If you look at that later, you will see where it said direct entry. Okay, by the reason of your scores at your A-level exams. Okay, so that's what's people will continue. The failure rate mirrors the society, mirrors the seriousness or lack of it, that parents and their children have applied to education. They just have to go, well, you've gone to the patched you up, they padded you up, to finish the 5 years or 6 years in secondary school. And you get to the bank of the Rubicon, you have to cross it, it's JAMB, you have to sit for it. If you're not prepared, if you're not being used to writing your own exams before, there's no magic. That's what's happening. That's what's happening. I don't think that is so much to do with the difficulty of the questions or the exams themselves. If you read, they ask you a question about what you read, the chances are at least you'll be able to answer most of the questions, which means you score enough marks to qualify for selection. You might not get 100%. You might not get the 400. I think JAMB score is over 400. You might not get the 400, but you score enough to be admitted to study. When you're chosen area, first, before you apply for JAMB, you already know the cutoff points you need to go to study what you are planning to study. So you read. You don't read, there's no magic. You follow the instructions even when you read. At some point, I didn't follow a particular instruction. I did sit for JAMB, the real exams, even while I was doing A-level. Most of us did. I didn't follow certain instructions. And it was as simple as, because again, that was a problem too. The scores coded. What did you score? Okay, to fill the form to apply. It's coded. I didn't read the instructions well. Where I scored A1, I put A1. Where it was A2, I put it. Where I scored A3, I put A3. Where it was a C5, I put C5. I put 5. So what it meant when the results came out, it was like, in some places I was actually saying I failed when I didn't fail. So for just not following, reading the instructions well on the application forms for things you are doing, you could get rejected. You could fail, not your scores. Eventually, I saw my scores. I scored high, but then I didn't, according to how I filled in the codes for my subjects, it meant I didn't have the qualification from my secondary school to, go to the university. Not what I scored in JAMB. Eventually, I got my JAMB score. That's also important. You have to pass the JAMB score first. Make sure you fill the forms properly, following the instructions. Okay, so guys, we've had a wonderful journey this episode, yes, of Say a Prayer. Guys, may Nigeria never happen to you. It nearly did to me, severally, but somehow Nigeria ends up happening for me, not by my folding my hands and wishing for some miracles to happen. You have to intentionally go for what you need to go for, but qualified, genuinely, on merit. So you speak boldly, don't feel intimidated. Okay, so that's it for our show for today. Okay, we thank you all so very much for joining us, for being part of this live stream on YouTube. Don't go away, TikTok, guys, we're still here. Okay, and then please remember, subscribe, please share this video to people you believe it would be useful to, and then keep the questions coming even when we are off the stream. Go to our channel, go to our YouTube channel or other social media handle, Nostalgiamedia. You can leave direct messages for me. I will respond. You don't need to agree with everything I've said. You don't even agree with anything I've said. You say what you don't agree with. We would have that discussion if outside of the stream. Okay, so next week again, Friday, 1 p.m. West African time, including Nigeria, and 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, US and Canada. We'll be here again on another edition of Say Prayer, guys. May Nigeria never happen to you. But on this program, our prayer is, may Nigeria happen for all Nigerians and friends of Nigeria. Okay? And with that, we say bye-bye. See you in the next one. God bless.